What's going on, world? What's going on? It's your boy Ryan Fraser, and we're here at Boxing Talk Up North. We got a good one, man. We got a really good one. Bring a couple people up here. First of all, my guy from Canada, Cole. What's going on, Boxing World?
Hi, Ryan. Thank you for having me. Yeah, Cole Whiston here from Boxing World. Um, like he said, I'm also from Canada. I got into boxing about 4 years ago. Absolutely fallen in love with it to the point that I wish I could have gotten into it earlier. I think nothing better than a sport that has no off season and gives you something to look forward to every single Saturday night. And boxing, specifically, since COVID, has actually done a fantastic job at doing just that. Very few weekends where you're not excited for at least one fight on the weekend. So, yeah, I'm a boxing fan for life now.
Yeah. Yo, no doubt, man. And the fact that you said that, I remember because like I was kind of like in boxing because my dad, and I go to school and nobody knew nothing about boxing. It was always hockey. It wasn't even basketball at that time. It was more like soccer. And then basketball, obviously, once the Raptors came in, basketball became a thing. But yeah, you're right, man. Boxing was is almost like it was like an underground sport here in Canada for the longest time. Like nobody was really talking about it, and it was a small community of people. Still is, but I think it is definitely taking off. It's a lot bigger now than it was ever before. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think the main part is that there's people like you and I who have finally jumped on board with Canadian boxing, and I think it's people like you that hopefully will help gear boxing towards a more mainstream attention here in Canada.
yeah, no, absolutely. Because we got the city as well. Like we got Montreal, you got Vancouver's a beautiful city, and Toronto's one of the biggest cities in North America. So you have the markets. We just need the fighters, obviously, the branding, and the networks as well. Like the networks are usually U.S. networks that run boxing. So we need a couple Canadian networks to get in the mix and really try to put some money behind the sport. That'd be nice.
I mean, some big news this week with Roger buying out the MLSE stake from Bell. So all of the sudden, Bell, I'm sure, will have to search for other content elsewhere. And for a company that had already, dipped its toes into UFC, which they lost in the last year, I think I wouldn't be shocked if they tried to get some more combat sports. They do have the TSN or the ESPN deal, which gets them the ESN fight every once in a while. So.
Okay, because I saw something about that. Like Dana White was saying his event's going to be on Roger Sportsnet. I think
Yes, so the
tomorrow.
UFC moved to Sportsnet this year,
Okay,
but with Sportsnet and Rogers buying out Bell and TSN, that leaves TSN open for basically we need a bunch of
yeah,
content.
they gotta
They have
fill some
already
spots.
right,
Yeah.
and they already have the deal with ESPN, so that top rank fight every once in a while. So maybe they dip their toe even further.
Wow, man. I mean, yo, that's what's up, man. I mean, I hope so because TSN's a
Yeah,
big player here in Canada for us. It's like our ESPN. It's been
right.
around a long time, so yeah, if they could fill some spots, especially with Christian and Billy and Arthur Beterbiev coming up, those guys are big names in boxing. They could definitely get some viewerships for them, and hopefully they can do some things with United Promotions and the other promotional companies that are around. Like even if they have it doesn't have to be on the main slot, but even if they have a replay, late at night or something like that, I think that could help a long way. If they got somewhere to on network just to be at.
Yeah, just run the highlight at minimum. Like it doesn't cost you anything to do that. It's 30 or a minute out of your slot in a half hour to an hour show. Like I don't think it's to even cover the sport casually, like ESPN does. Besides
Yeah.
on top rank events, they don't actually cover it from studio shows. So if you could just cover at half the capacity that ESPN covers top rank, Canada boxing would be in a significantly better position.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, and it's kind of like it's a reason for guys to stay at home too if they have a network that they can be on.
Yeah.
Your folks are not only seeing you at the shows, they're sitting on their couch, having fight parties. Like that's what really gets boxing moving is when you have a lot of people being introduced to the sport that never been introduced before. And that's why I hate to say it, but Jake Paul was so good this year for what he did because he brought women's boxing to a new height and he brought his YouTube buddies with him. Like they're all coming to the gyms now, and they all
Exactly.
think they could be boxers. But it's good when you got new eyeballs on the sport and new people involved because everybody's gonna realize they can't get in that ring, but they can impact it in another way.
Yeah, I got nothing wrong with Jake Paul. Never did. Even with the nonsense of him, talking about a Canelo fight, nonsense of him talking about a world fight. That's all for show. When he comes
Yeah.
in, make a motion company, and the first person he signs is the undervalued 7 division champion Toronto, and then a year later gets her the fight that we've been talking about for years on end with Katie Taylor, sells out Madison Square Garden. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. That's a Super Bowl. That you have now gained yourself respect for the next 5 years to 10 years. I don't get to comment on how you operate if you've done that. That
Right.
was a Super Bowl championship. So I think that Jake Paul's done nothing but good things for this sport. He's continued to do so, and that's not that's way past Amanda Serrano now. He's continued to prove that he is actually serious about growing the game.
Yeah, yeah, and like you said, they're gonna run it back again in Dallas, and a lot more money, bigger platform, Netflix.
That should be
Yeah,
the main event, and hopefully the main event gets canceled.
yeah, it'll be the main event, and all of us hardcore boxing fans that'll be the fight we'll be watching for that night. But of course, yeah, I'm sure the rest of the world will be excited to see Mike Tyson back in the ring,
Yeah,
even though I feel like he shouldn't. Man, he's too old for that. I
yeah.
hate to see my legends like that. I saw B Hop in too long, and Joe Smith knocked him out the ring. Saw Roy Jones get knocked out. Like, man, my legends, man.
No, we. I don't think we have to sugarcoat this. This is full on BS. Jake
Yeah,
Paul. You want to shit talk Jake Paul? This is it. This is the moment where you can talk bad about Jake Paul, because this is all he has talked about being serious about the sport for 5 now. This is as unserious as it gets. Guess what? We've seen Mike in a boxing ring in the last half decade. And guess
yeah,
what? It did not look well. And also, in that fight, it was an exhibition against Roy Jones Jr.
yeah,
One, according to all reports up to this point, is going to be a pro fight. You're going to go to BoxRec on Mike Tyson's record, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, and you're going to see Jake Paul at the end of
Jake
it.
Paul.
Like,
Yeah, I know,
that
man. I
is
can't believe it.
embarrassing.
Yeah, the whoever commissioned sanctioned that is, man, they should lose their job after this, because like that's not right that you're doing this to Mike right now. You're giving Jake Paul a reason to say he beat a legend. To all these YouTubers who've never watched boxing, they really think like Jake Paul is gonna beat a legend, when it's like, man, go watch Mike Tyson highlights and tell me Jake Paul would have beat a 20-year-old Mike Tyson. Like, there's no way in any world where that's
No,
happening yet.
no. And Mike Tyson could literally be his dad. He'd be a young dad, but he could quite literally be Jake Paul's dad. And it's been 20 years, with a gap between their age, since Mike Tyson has been a relevant pro boxer. And 20
Yeah,
years ago, he also wasn't that good. When he came back from prison, he
yeah,
wasn't good.
yeah. We all know that he was not Mike that we knew, and
No.
60 years old, he's definitely not gonna be Mike. Like,
That's insane. Like, saying that we're even having this conversation.
yep. But yeah, man, we'll start off first here with AJ and Dubois. Like, that's a big card that's going on. They sold 96,000 tickets. Shout out to the UK, man. They're just different boxing fans in general. It doesn't matter where they fight, they show up, and they show up for their guys. And we got an all Brit heavyweight matchup here. They love this stuff, man. Wembley Stadium. Who do you think's gonna win the fight? AJ or Dubois?
AJ, and I'll put it simply. Everything that you think Dubois does well, AJ is the best version of that. That's Anthony Dubois. Everything that Daniel Dubois has been good at, which is being big, being powerful, has a good, can follow it up with the right hand, can set up his punches, can trade on the out. Everything everything that you would think that Daniel Dubois makes him a world-class heavyweight boxer, and Joshua does better. But I will say this, and this is the unfortunate part when it comes to Anthony Joshua in 2024. The chin has been cracked. We've seen it. He's been hurt multiple times. Daniel Dubois certainly hits hard enough to hurt him again. It's just a matter of if he does.
Mhm.
The way I look at it is they have a common opponent very recently, Alexander Usyk, and despite people however you feel about that Joe fight with Daniel Dubois and whether you think he quit or not, I think we can all agree going blind doesn't rolling out to the end of a decision in
Yeah.
a fight that you were getting beat up at in the fight. Alexander Usyk, he quit. There's no arguing that. He did quit against Alexander Usyk. Joshua went
Hmm.
24 rounds with Usyk. The last 12 were better than the first 12. I think it's as
Yeah.
simple as that. And as long as Joshua doesn't get cracked early in the fight, I think by round 5 to 8, he will stop because he's just so much faster than him. And Daniel
Hmm.
Dubois has never, maybe ever, it's been a long time since Daniel Dubois has been hit as hard as he's going to get hit on Saturday night.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Herkovich was hitting him a lot too in their fight, but I felt like I said the same thing actually. I said if Dubois gets hit with all those right hands by Joshua, he's gonna get stopped.
Yeah.
But I think what's gonna happen is I think Dubois is gonna knock down Joshua, and I think this will be a boring fight. To be honest, I don't want to say that, but I think it's gonna be a boring fight. I think
Really?
AJ's gonna win, and I think he's gonna get on that back foot like he did with Ruiz in the second fight. Once he gets put to the canvas, I think he'll box his way to the end. But I do think it'll be exciting while it lasts. And I would like to see. Okay, I'm bringing my brother up here, Jay Smith. What's going on, family from Dominican?
What's good, fellas?
We talking AJ Dubois. You see they sold 96,000 tickets, man. That's
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, like I said, I think Dubois will put AJ down a little early in the fight, and this will be a boring fight. Unfortunately, I think AJ will get on that back foot and just use his jab, stay on the outside. But this is a great matchup for Britain, man. This is what you want to see. Two of the top dudes in the country outside of Tyson Fury. They're hoping to get a matchup with that winner, Fury and Usyk too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it'll be a
Ryan,
good
I'll say this.
matchup, man.
I'll say this. Would you not be surprised if you think that Dubois is knocked down Anthony Joshua early, that it turns into the Klitschko fight the last time Joshua had a huge fight at Wembley Stadium? Like, I
I
think that
would.
that's the more likely scenario. Is that Joshua, if he was to get knocked down early, I think that would only put more fuel in the fire because Joshua's at the point, and I agree with Eddie Hearn. I do think that this is the best version of Joshua that we've ever seen. I know it's hard to,
Mhm.
justify that when his last fight was against a boxing novice, but a lot of pressure in all 4 of those fights. And since Ben Davison, he's been putting guys to sleep and he's been on the front foot. And it's been, I think, calculated Joshua that I've seen ever. So I think
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, we're just getting a better version of the Joshua that fought Klitschko. And if he was to get knocked down early, I don't think he would. I think he would waste any term in terms of turning it back up and bringing it back the other way.
No, you're right, man. Like AJ is one of the few guys in heavyweight division outside of Usyk that I say probably he always strives to get better. Like he went to Derek James for a bit. Like he's showing us that he takes his boxing to another level. He's not really like just satisfied with where he's at, and I love that about him. I just think like if he didn't do the Ruiz rematch the way he did it, like he did the big ring, Saudi, okay, I get it, money. But the big ring, man, that was unnecessary. Like you were just showing us that you were scared to get hit again. And I feel like though he redeemed himself, though he's redeemed himself since. Like you said, he's looked as good as he's ever looked before, which is very
Mm-hmm.
true. And Ben Davison, he needs to get his props, man, because he's a great coach. Like you talk Devin Haney, they said they talk with him all the time when they get ready to fight. So he knows what he's looking at. And he definitely got AJ in a better place. It's just we just gotta understand AJ's psyche. Like, where's he at with getting
Right.
hit by a big puncher? Because apparently they've shared sparring before, and apparently Dubois put him down before. So I always think about that too. Like, does he knows if anybody knows Dubois' power, it's probably AJ. He knows what it's like best. So it's a matter of does he believe AJ or Dubois could put him down again or not, or is he just like, yeah, man, I'm just this much better now, where I'm gonna take you out. So it'll be good, man. I think it'll be a good fight while it lasts for sure.
Oh, I think it's going to be a fantastic fight. And I'll say this story, uh, they've cleared it up this week. Yes, it happened. It also happened 7 years ago. Uh,
Yeah, exactly. It's a long time, man. A lot has
long time ago.
changed for both men,
Yeah,
and
that's
they've
that.
both grown so many. Like AJ, obviously, he's definitely not the same fighter at all. He's a unified champion, man. He's been
Yeah,
through
and
wars.
exactly. And I think the deck, sorry, is just stacked against Danny Dubois. AJ not only has fought at Wembley Stadium before in front of 90,000 fans. He's done the walk multiple times. He's been in these big fights multiple times. Daniel Dubois never stood across from somebody like Anthony Joshua. Daniel Dubois never seen an atmosphere like he's going to see on Saturday night. And despite Frank Warren thinking that all the pressure is on Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois is this fight. He's going to be working around the Dillian White resume when it comes to trying to get back to the title picture. It's going to be you fight the odd fringe guys and try back into the title picture. Whereas Anthony Joshua, if he loses this fight, Anthony Joshua, guess what still happens? He gets the Tyson Fury fight. Like that, it's not going to matter. Anthony Joshua is as comfortable as he has ever been in this stadium at this level. He has shown up every time.
Yeah, that's true, man. And the only thing that Frank Warren could point to is Edgar Berlanga, man. He had a good weekend last weekend. He didn't shit the bed like we all thought he would. He did get knocked down, but he got up and he kept fighting. So, I mean, Edgar made a fan out of me, and I just hope Dubois could do the same thing, man. Because I thought Edgar had no chance, and he had no chance. But I mean, he showed heart, which is what I look for, at least in a fighter. He didn't quit.
Oscar De La Hoya, it's his clapback Thursdays to or whatever, and the first part of his video he dedicated it towards the Canelo Berlanga, and he actually said something that doesn't happen very often, but he actually said something that I do kind of agree with. Since when have we gotten to the point that as long as you survive and put up, not as you survive, just as long as you make it to the end of the 12 rounds, that we give you so much for it? Edgar Berlanga was outclassed for 36 minutes. The scorecards were ridiculous. He didn't win more than 2 rounds in that fight, and he got hit all the. I think if anything, it's a more testament to Canelo. Like Canelo hit that hard anymore.
Yeah, it is, and Oscar should be careful what he's saying because we all gave him respect for fighting Bernard Hopkins at 160, and he got battered around that ring too. So I don't know what he's talking about, man. We all kept saying, "Hey, Oscar, you fought everybody, even when you got beat up, man. You got sucked down to fight Pacquiao. We respected you for that. So he needs to stop with that." Like,
I get it.
Oscar's done a lot, man.
I have a hard time when you get completely outclassed for 12 rounds. I have a hard time giving you credit for it. Like John Ryder. John Ryder deserves credit for going 12 rounds with Canelo Alvarez. Canelo was trying to stop John Ryder. I don't really. I never really like he was trying to stop Edgar Berlanga. Think about it this way: that left hook knockdown was the 3rd round. You're telling me that Canelo Alvarez, the best boxer of this generation, couldn't find another home for the left hook in 12 rounds? I think if he wanted to, he could have, and it would have hurt.
Yeah, man. We're gonna talk about the AJ and Dubois undercard now. Like, there's a lot of action going on. It's mostly UK action, but I see Josh Kelly, his fight is still going on. Joshua Buatsia, he's fighting Willie Hutchinson, and Warrington's back, which is nice. It's definitely more UK based card, but hey, it's Wembley Stadium. It's 90,000 people. They're probably all from the UK, so it makes perfect sense, man. Who are you looking for on this card?
Jay, you want to take it?
Yeah, I'll take it.
What's going on, bro?
To be honest with you, in my case, I'm focusing strictly on AJ and Dubois. The other fighters on the card are fighters that I don't follow as much. They're UK-based fighters. Yeah, and that's one thing that I want to point out. I think is good to segue into just saying, I think that Eddie Hearn and Matchroom and the Zone, they have to do a better job of marketing UK fighters in the US. Because, at the end of the day, even though they're stars in the UK, but I think we can all agree that the US is the mecca of boxing. You need to become a star over there as well.
If you want to make the money. You know what? The one guy I think you should look out for Carlos Adames is Hamza Shiraz. I forgot he was fighting. I didn't even say his name on there. He's the other 160 guy coming up right now. Apparently, he's the guy that's going to beat Carlos.
I mean, he's the mandatory, or he's going to be the mandatory after if he wins in the WBO, which is obviously held by Janibek Alimhanallah. But I think Hamza Shiraz is one of the best UK contenders right now.
Yeah, no doubt, man. He's like a young American the way I look at him. I think they're both the same descent. And he's huge though for the division. He looks like
Oh
he's
yeah.
6'2", 6'3", 160. He looked big against Amma Williams. And Amma Williams is a pretty big guy himself. So I hope he could do well. I'm looking for the Boatia and Willie Hutchinson fight. I hope Boatia could win because David Benavidez needs a dancing partner. Morrell's gonna need a dancing partner. Anthony Yard's gonna need a dancing partner. Like that 175 division is starting to heat up slowly. And of course, the people that move up, I want to see Janabek move up to 68 at least to make that interesting. But yeah, those are the few dudes that I'm looking at. Josh Warrington, I'm not really excited about. I think he's kind of over the hill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think like you're the same, like the same thing you're saying, Jay. There's not really many exposures of those guys here. In oh shoot, I gotta bring the legend in, fellas. One and only James
Oh,
Tony. What's going on, my guy?
Hey man,
Let's
I'm sorry, man. I'm so sorry, man. I'm late. I know. I
Nah,
apologize.
it's all good, brother.
I've been training people all day, and man, it's crazy.
In the gym all day, eh?
Since 6:30 in the morning.
Oh shoot,
Wow.
man. That's a long day for you, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, yo, who you think's gonna win this weekend, AJ or Dubois?
Man, it's that's tricky.
Yeah,
All depends
Very
how.
true.
It all depends how AJ comes to the fight, ready to fight, or try to box around the ring and be scared.
you all saying that earlier. It does depend. So you don't think Dubois could get to him if he
I,
does the runaround?
hey, look, in the heavyweight division, anything is possible but beating James Tony.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
I feel
look,
you, brother.
I just want to say, I honestly believe that. And first of all, let me just say, lights out, Tony. You're not late, my brother. We just happened to be early. That's all that was. Um,
I told my man I'm gonna be on time, but mess around. Hey, everybody being late. I mean, these young kids today don't take boxing serious. I
it
know.
Mm-hmm.
happens. It happens. It happens. But I just want to say, I got AJ winning this fight. I think Dubois is gonna put up a great fight. I think it's gonna
Oh,
be
no
very
doubt.
competitive. If AJ decides to trade on the inside, I think he could get in trouble in there.
Oh,
So I
definitely.
do think he's gonna make it a boxing match.
Yeah.
I can, that's the scary side of him. Come on, if you heavyweight champion, well, you must be the bad man on the planet, supposedly. You
Yeah.
go in, you box around, you're boxing for safety.
Yeah.
Forget all that.
That's
I think
true.
we've seen in terms of recency bias. If anybody gonna go into this fight scared, it's gonna be Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois quit against all others. Daniel Dubois needed his dad to pump him up for the Jarrell Miller fight, which, by the way, I don't give Daniel Dubois credit for. Jarrell Miller came off of a 5-year layoff and got 3 nobodies and fought Daniel Dubois to a war, and he didn't stop until the 10th round. He didn't even knock him down. It was a standing stoppage. So I think if anybody's coming into this fight, it's going to be Daniel Dubois.
No.
It's England, so it's both of them.
Yeah.
I think
Oh
we can
man.
all agree that right now AJ does have momentum in his favor. He's been getting some good quality wins and in some devastating fashion as well.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
And
Yeah, man.
significantly more confident. Yeah.
I
He's
think right
gotta
now,
be.
like you said, Daniel Dubois, he has got to come in confidence and act like the heavyweight champion world, like he bad, and go get it
Mm-hmm.
if he want to keep his title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in the lead up, even in the content, like the face off, the conference, he just seems like he's like uncomfortable. Like Anthony Joshua is one of the most smartest fighters you would ever meet when it comes to he doesn't come with the trash talk, but he's just calm, relaxed, but also quick if he does need to be quick when it comes to his wit. And in the press conference you saw it, and in the face off you saw it, and Danny Dubois seemed to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's the big show. I mean, 90,000 people, man. I don't know how you
Wow,
yeah, I don't know how you don't
wow.
get a little starstruck with that, right? But
Yeah.
Crazy.
He's gonna have to figure it out, man. Those lights can get big, eh, Tony?
For sure, definitely. And
So
if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen.
That's
so
right.
Tony, I want to ask you. You know, of course, the fighters can't get ahead of the fight, but we can, right? Let's say AJ, let's say AJ does get past Dubois, right? Do you think there's a way that he can get a rematch with Usyk? Do you think he can make adjustments and win in a third fight?
I think, look, in my opinion, Usyk, he's an average fighter, but he's heavyweight champion world. I think if Anthony just buckle down and do what he gotta do, he can get him out there. He can get him out of there. For real, seriously. I think because the guy, he has no business being in the ring with him. Had no business at all. But whatever he did whatever he did to Anthony Joshua, he took his heart.
Yeah, no
I
doubt.
think that
Usyk's just got that win gene in him. Like he's just not gonna lose. Like
Right.
he's just like he refuses to lose, and I
Hey,
love that about him.
he has hardcore. He has hardcore determination, and I think
Hmm.
man, he's doing a great job. But time will tell.
That's true.
I'd be
Yeah.
surprised. Usyk's like 37 years old. If he pulls off the win in the rematch against Fury in December, I'd be surprised if he entertained a fight again. Not because I think he would be scared. It's just more like why? Why do I have to?
He said he wanted to go back down and wait.
He said, "Well, he said I want him with championship. Fuck it, forget it. Excuse me, and take L." But I did. But I did. Who knows?
Yep. That's true.
It all depends which Tyson Fury we see.
Yeah. Because I mean, Tyson Fury might be happy with these paychecks right now.
But
He may not even have his heart in winning all these titles.
and you see before the fight, he all in the media, kissing everybody, shaking hands.
Yeah.
He loved that.
Yeah, he's happy. Like he's just happy to be there. It seems like.
Yeah. Here's the question: if you're Anthony Joshua and you knock out Daniel Dubois, Usyk beats Fury in the rematch, and you have both the Tyson Fury fight and the Undisputed trilogy with Usyk on the table, which do you choose? If you're Joshua, why not? Yeah, why not choose Fury first and hope that the Usyk fight is still there afterwards? Or if it's not, whatever, you move on and you get the title. They got vacated.
If it was me, I'm going after Usyk.
Yeah, fair enough.
Top dog.
You beat me, and then Tyson Fury next, because then it'd be even a bigger fight.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you could sell it as the all UK undisputed heavyweight championship bout. Yeah,
I just think it's too risky. That's my problem. Joshua again. Now there's no title on the line for Joshua Fury, and it's all because they both lost to Alexander. It's like I think it's too risky.
Yeah, Usyk. If he beats them both, man, again, then he's the heavyweight slayer. He's the giant slayer.
Yeah.
He's the heavyweight slayer of this decade.
Yeah.
Look, to be honest with you, none of these guys in the fight game, they from flyweight to heavyweight could fight in that era.
Your era was different, man. Your era, you guys were different.
I completely agree. It's one of the few sports where I will agree that I think these times were the best times.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we gave the fans what they want, the fights they want. Now, my mama said I can't do this. My dad said this. Man, fuck all that bullshit. Fight. Sign the contract. Talk this shit.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of daddies in boxing right now.
I was just gonna say too many people at the too many people at the table. Yeah.
Too many.
Yeah, and I think the fighters, James, I think they want to fight. Like I do think, honestly, these dudes want to fight each other. I just think there's too many promoters, managers that are like, no, that's not worth the fight. That's not worth money. It's too much like talk of that going on, and these guys get persuaded.
We brought it up earlier, talking about Jake Paul and giving him praise. There's another one. he had no business trying to get a fight with Floyd Schofield. And if it wasn't for Mike Tyson having in that fight, he would have fought Floyd Schofield that night, and maybe the same thing would have happened. Instead, it was Lucas Buck. Obviously pulled off the knockout of the year contender. But what I'm saying is Jake Paul, one of those moments where you can praise him for putting up his, highly touted product against a challenge in like his 12th fight in his career.
Yeah, well, that's why I like Pro Box, because they always match tough. They match guys tough. They match them evenly. And if you win, you're probably going to get a good opportunity on one of these networks. But, most promoters ain't out here doing that. They just trying to save the records.
They're scared.
I just want to say, that one difference, for example, is that back in the day, if a fighter lost, he could still get back up and do his thing, right? But we're in this social media era where a guy takes a loss and you already have social media saying that he's a hype job, that they got exposed, that he's a bum. So it's almost like you can't afford to take a loss because your stock is gonna stumble.
Yeah, everybody's scared to lose their L.
Yeah, and that's crazy,
man.
man.
The L, and that's like you said, that's different between today and yesterday. Back in the day, we had Hagler Hearn, Leonard Hearn, Durant Hearn, Wilfred Benitez. Oh man,
yeah,
you
Lucas Salvador, man, they were young.
Salvador Sanchez was one of my favorite fighters. He's a fun man. Can nobody see him at 126?
Didn't Sugar Ray and Thomas Hearns fight when they were in their 20s, like 22 and 25?
They fought in their early 20s.
You and Roy was young too.
Yeah, you and Roy, yep.
Well, I was 24, Roy was 25.
Yeah, like that's prime.
But you don't have that today. You won't have it because everyone always talking about this, talking about that. You have that, the daddy saying this, daddy saying that, and promoters here, man. It's a circus, man. It's a clown job.
Yeah, it's like Tank and Shakur right now. Like they keep saying that fight needs to get built up, and
it do.
I don't know why, man.
It don't need to be built up because Tank is the headline. Tank is the man. And security don't hurry lying, and the fight should be made. And everybody knows what happened. Tank gonna knock him out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's my next topic here. Like, who do we think Tank's gonna fight next? Because Leonard Ellerby said there was a line, and it don't seem like there's any line. Nobody's really stepping up.
They don't know because they want to get killed. They want their older go.
You're not gonna like the opinion that I have this topic. You're not gonna like it at all. I'm starting to sense that I'm a minority here, but I want to lay something out for the fans because I have a problem with Gervonta Davis.
Why?
We talk about. I know. Listen, James.
Boo!
So we call Gervonta Davis a 3-division world champion, right? Let's establish that he's only actually won real world title 2 divisions. The third one was Mario Barrios, who had the regular title in that division when there was a super champion at that division at that time. But here's the other point that I want to make. If we want to talk about who's ducking who, let's take a look at Gervonta Davis's career. He has fought 2 in his entire career, where he actually fought the champion, their weight class, and it was. The last one was Leo Santa Cruz in 2020. Had just moved up to super featherweight, won a vacant world title, and the first defense was Gervonta Davis. Second one was in 2017 against Jose Pedraza, who had won a vacant title, defended twice, and then fought Gervonta Davis. Since then, the only other one was Marios, who I just mentioned was a regular world champion, and guess what? We also found out afterwards had a pound rehydration clause. And then in his second last fight, he had Ryan Garcia at a catch weight below where he was comfortable at, and again at a pound rehydration clause. Gervonta Davis has never unified and has only fought 2 world champions at their weight in his entire career, and it's been a long time since that happened. I think everybody's ducking the Shakur fight. It is Gervonta Davis, and the fact that the conversations about him fighting Jose Valenzuela in his next fight at 140, give me a break. That is as typical of a Gervonta fight as it gets. I would honestly rather him pick off Lucas Bach, who is at least ranked in the top 10 in his sanctioning body at his own weight. I know that's also a pick'em fight, but it's like, give me a break. Give me a break. I think he gets way too much hype. I enjoy watching him. He is very entertaining and very talented, which I guess is also why it makes me mad, is because I think still a legit conversation that he could beat Shakur Stevenson, but I don't know that because it hasn't proven to me that he actually can fight at that level. He's just fighting guys he knows he's going to.
And what level?
He's got to fight.
Say the B. I wouldn't say the B level, but it's like the 1C level. It's not the B level. It's like the 1C level.
Hey, Mario C.
No C. So like if there was tiers, so it's like 1A, which is fighting champions, 1B is like fighting legit contenders, and then there's 1C where he kind of like has the cards fully in his favor.
Ah, man.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. Well, you know what? Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And I think he's a tremendous fighter, But I think Shakur, he's a tremendous fighter. But Shakur, the one he just like Tank, the one fighter by it. Come on,
I don't know if I feel like we've seen enough. I feel like we've seen Shakur. When it comes to Shakur, there's been guys. Well, no, I'm talking about guys who have publicly ducked him, as in Frank Martin. Literally got out of the Shakur fight just so he could take on Gervonta Davis and get knocked out. That was Frank Martin. Edmund De Los Santos, who, by the way, note in the third round, Jose Valenzuela back in like 2021, he landed 40 punches against Shakur in a 12-round championship. I think if anybody is ducking anybody, it's people ducking Shakur.
I think they should have all fought at when they were at 35. Like when Devin was there, when Tio was there, Tank was still there. They should have all fought then. Those were the dudes that were keeping boxing hype. Like everybody wanted to see that.
Yeah.
And then they all moved on. And Tank is still saying he can fight at 40. So I'm like, yo, why don't you go up there and still fight those guys? They still there.
But no racing clause.
Yeah, it's gotta be no clauses, man.
Because he's doing shit. He's doing what shit with it did back in the day. Yeah, what do you call it? Rehydration clause. Whatever, man. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Look, I just want to say, look, when it comes to Tank Davis, the entire argument that you made about his titles, about the opponents, I made exactly everything you said 100%. I've said exactly that same way. So I have that same take. Tank Davis, this is what bothers me in reality, because Tank is a great fighter. He's an elite level fighter, and I think he's up there with the best of them. However, he's about to be 30 years old and still hasn't faced any of the best in any of the divisions that he's fought. Like we just said, look, James Toney fought Roy Jones Jr. when he was 25 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's not forget, Shakur Stevenson.
We don't see that in this era.
Well, look, you forgot. I fought all the best fighters in the world in my prime, in their prime.
Yeah.
In 5 divisions. You fought at the world-class level in 5 dividivisions.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And then, at 39 years old, I ran at heavyweight. Well, everybody said I had no business there, but you know what? They still couldn't see me. I had to get my business. I did what I had to do. You know what I'm saying?
You definitely had business being at heavyweight. 92 fights in your career, 10 not one single stoppage.
No.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's insane. That's
unbelievable.
Listen, if you look at the opponents James Toney faced in his career, killers that was sleeping people, and this man never got slept.
Yeah, man.
And I wanted to bring it back to the lightweight division. When it comes to Shakur Stevenson, let's not forget he's a 3-division world champion, and unlike Gervonta Davis, he actually is a 3-division world champion. But also at one of those divisions, super featherweight, he unified the titles against the best guy, the Ring Magazine #1 guy at that weight class in Oscar Valdez.
Oscar Valdez.
Yeah. You have no argument. You have no argument here. Okay, he is an exceptional fighter. But I'm saying I'm just saying, them two right there should absolutely fight.
Yeah.
All gloves off. Let's go. Go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, I was.
you think it's like promoters that are stopping this fight right now, James?
Oh, most definitely, because everybody is all about the money.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Everybody always has their hands in the pot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I will
Yeah.
say that. I don't think it's. I don't like. Obviously, I'm not sitting here saying that Gervonta Davis, the guy who grew up in Baltimore, is scared of Shakur Stevenson. Like he isn't. He is a fighter and a damn good one at that. He's not scared to fight Shakur Stevenson. Definitely from a promotional aspect, they do not want to have that fight right now.
No.
Yeah.
Some new news I heard today, man. Dana White said he is stepping in boxing. He said, "I'm in." Is that good for us? I think it's good, but what do you guys think, man? Dana White entering the boxing space. Can he help bring it up to speed? I mean, he's the type of guy that makes the top fights, top fighter versus fighter. Or do you think the boxers will not cooperate with Dana White?
They ain't cooperate because everybody know how he is.
Mm.
They know how he is from his MMA days. He ain't gonna change. He's just a better version of Don King.
Yeah, he gives you those low fighter purses, man. He gives those guys peanuts over there at the UFC, but he's gonna have to realize boxing is a whole different game.
You ain't lying.
I expect him to do well if he does treat it as a priority in life. That's kind of where I'm unsure. I don't know if Dana White's gonna treat it priority. I know he says that. He says a lot of things. He also shit talks boxing the last 5 years. So I think this is him. I think if anything, this is him admitting that he can't avoid his biggest competition, which is boxing. So I think it'll be okay as long as they're willing to take on the challenges, because I do think if he's a promotion company, he is going to try to have their fighters put in more tough matchups on a regular basis than other promoters would at the early stages, because I don't think he's going to be able to get fighters at the top stages because he's not going to be willing to pay them. So I do think he's going to match them up tough. It's a matter of if those guys are going to be willing to do so, and if they're going to be willing to do so under, I would say, UFC-esque contracts.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's what's gonna be.
Bullshit.
And yeah, it's unfortunate that he does his contracts like that. Like those guys can't get no sponsorships. They can't get no money from outside of the UFC because you're exclusive to the UFC, and that should never be like that. You should be able to go get money from wherever you can.
That's slave master.
Like they're relying on just Dana White, which is crazy.
Yeah.
If he's gonna have that same business model for boxing, it's not gonna work out.
No.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. There's no shot.
Yeah, so if he switches his hat now, do you think the UFC fighters look at it like, yo, you gotta start treating us better over here?
Yep.
If he pays boxers what boxers get paid, the UFC fighter 100% gonna have a problem with it.
Right.
Oh, it's gonna be a strike.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I've been waiting on them to do that. Like, honestly, like every time he gets a new ESPN deal and I find out the fighters get a 0% of that, I'm like, what the
I just
heck?
want to point something out. You may have seen that recently Dana White linked up with His Excellency Turkey Al Sheikh. So what I'm guessing, and all of a sudden now he's putting out there this push that he's gonna get into boxing. So what I'm guessing is that somehow Turkey is going to be involved. Thus, there will be money injected into it to be able to bring maybe not the best fighters, but at least some names.
100%. We saw him post his video on social media today promoting the Joshua Dubois pick, which coincidentally is also on Riyadh season. Coincidentally, the weekend after he had his card on Riyadh season. I definitely think it's the Turkey partnership.
You know what I think happened? I think like he had that event in the Spear and he really thought he was gonna move Canelo off his date. And Canelo stood strong and he lost a bunch of money from Canelo. And he said, maybe I should go over there. He's like, those guys are still doing something over there.
Exactly.
Plus, it cost him a bunch of money to even put on the event. So he was losing money before the event even started.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. It's just,
Since you mentioned Canelo, I gotta ask you, Tony. Let's say Canelo, who do you think he should fight next? Bud or the Mexican Monster?
The Mexican motherfucking monster.
Yeah, that's James's guy, Benavidez, yo.
That's my dude right there. Hey, tell my dude
Man,
too.
why you want to see Canelo get pummeled like that?
Huh? Because you know what? Because they don't think he bad. He think he a monster. Look, Beaver beat the brakes off his ass.
Bevo was beating him.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
there's a power difference between David Benavidez and Dimitri Bivol.
It's gonna be different. Hey, don't get me wrong. Hey, Canelo looked good last weekend. He looked good. I'm not gonna hate on him. But you know what? Take that whole attitude to Benavidez.
Yeah.
But he ain't trying to. He ain't trying to see that. He don't want to. He don't want to get embarrassed.
Nah, that's true.
Problem, man, is that I think Benavidez actually has, the tools, the resources, and the size to be the first person to stop Canelo.
Definitely.
I think that I can't go as far as saying that, but
all right, you can say it's gonna happen. Why do you think he don't want to fight?
He's not gonna
Benavidez
stop
would beat him. Benavidez would beat him. I do agree, especially right now. I haven't seen anything impressive from Canelo in 5 years.
I'm telling you right now, if there was a fight in September, in December or January, my man, the monster, would knock him out.
I know, but I think here's my thing. That's so he could plant. But here's my other thing. We saw 12 or 24 rounds. Canelo Triple G, who Triple G was the most feared puncher in the world at the time, did tons of haymakers on Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez didn't even wobble.
Paul, you gotta remember, Paul, this is 34-year-old Canelo who's been in a lot more wars.
Has he really? Like, how many wars has he actually been in since the Triple G fight? That's kind of what I'm saying. I haven't seen any wars.
He's been taking it easy.
He did not win that first fight.
Nah, he didn't. No.
He didn't.
The judges gave him that one. Triple G won that fight.
Come on, dog.
Yeah.
Look.
He got gifted a draw.
Yeah, he did. Canelo,
he's okay, but he's not an all-time great. Wrong era.
I agree.
You can't say nobody's an all-time great in this era. They're not fighting.
Right.
But he's like the most accomplished Mexican fighter, which is crazy.
I know, but he could have been.
But the great still, the two great Mexicans of all fighters of all time are Salvador Sanchez and
I agree.
Luis Chavez.
We had this conversation, AJ.
1 and 2. 1 and 2.
We agree, man.
I think he could have been. Canelo was on track. Yeah, Canelo was on pace. He was on pace to be the best Mexican of all time and an all-time great, and then he stopped fighting guys. Like, how do you go from running through the super middleweight division in 1 year to then not taking a competitive fight since then?
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, if he's talking about Bivol, like obviously he doesn't talk about Beterbiev, which Beterbiev could win that fight too.
Oh, but Beterbiev, that's right there. That's a different monster.
Yeah, that guy's got rocks in his hands, like he just be hitting.
That's a monster.
I don't think Canelo wants them Beterbiev problems.
Yeah, he doesn't say nothing about Beterbiev, but he says if Bivol wins, I'll fight Bivol again. So it's like, man, come on, brother. Another one of your guys, Tone, Caleb Plant. You think he should fight Berlanga next?
Easy win.
I thought those boys. I thought they for Plant.
For Plant.
Even after he got hit like that this weekend with McCumber.
But you see, it don't matter what you do if you get knocked out. It's what you do when you get up. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Yeah. He got what you get in business.
Yeah, he showed us championship pedigree.
And got you get out of there. Meanwhile, Berlanga was scared to death. His eyes were wide as pigeons. You know what I'm saying? Wide. He was scared.
And I don't really think, like, I know he had him hurt, but I don't think that was actually a knock. was more of him, coming into him as he was punching him, and then on top of that, it's been well over a year and a half for Plant out of the ring. I think that was more ring rust than it was anything else.
Yo, man, I never seen when David Benavidez punched him. I never seen Plant's legs buckle like that at all. So like McCombie got some power, but obviously he got no inside game, and Caleb took advantage of that. Went straight to the kitchen.
He raped
beat the brakes off him.
He raped him mad, but I'm telling you, hey, Caleb is, he on top tier, man. I love that guy. Good fighter.
Yeah, Caleb.
I like
Edgar Berlanga's best win is a toss-up between Jason Quigley and McCrory. Both of those guys would probably be in a war with Trevor McCombie. I think it's just disrespectful to even consider Plant not beating Berlanga.
Trevor McCombie would probably knock him out.
Yeah.
Berlanga? Oh,
no.
You got power.
Oh, yeah. That's a good fight.
Yo, McCombie and Berlanga.
Yeah.
That'd be a
good fight, too. That'd be a war.
For sure.
Battle of the Chins.
Yeah, man. So what do you think about that event this past weekend? James Toney, did you like it? The Canelo fight?
I thought it was a great card. I mean, it was action all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
But I was happy we had boxing, 4 good fights, no one round knockouts. You know what I'm saying? Boom.
Yeah.
I was happy with that, man. Boxing made a good comeback this past weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. We went up against a so-called giant UFC
and we won.
Yeah, Canelo definitely lost some money. Some money. Yeah. That's what's up.
I knew that UFC stuff was gonna crash when Dana White started saying, "Oh, the real star is the sphere, and we're gonna have all these cool things in the sphere." Like he wasn't even really talking about the fighters. Like
he wasn't selling both.
So when they were trying to sell the sphere, that's when I knew things was going downhill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have worked very closely with hardcore UFC fans, guys that could riddle off every champion in division for every year that they've been in existence, and he wasn't excited for the event, and he definitely didn't buy the pay-per-view if you watched the event at all. But the thing is that when you do that, sometimes you get burned, and Dana White got burned because his star Sean lost from the main event.
No. Yeah. Here's a factor that affected him too. To go to the Sphere, the cheapest tickets was like $1,500 in the nosebleed section. And you got to keep in mind that there's people that's going to fly in. That means that if you want to go to the Sphere, you got to spend per person at least $5,000 to sit on the nosebleed section. To sit on the nosebleed. Yeah. So the fight fans, the average fight fans can spend $5,000 to go see a fight.
Hell no.
Nah. And they won't. Like, look at Wembley Stadium, 96,000. I can guarantee you, some of those tickets is cheap, and some of them are just happy to be there.
Super cheap.
Absolutely right.
Yep. And even like
they tried to knock down the prices like in the last minute, but it was too late.
The other thing I found weird about the Sphere event was there's no Mexican headline for UFC. So it's like you're doing on Mexican Independence Day, and there's no Mexican headline. Like, what do you want the fans to be excited about?
That's messed up.
You got a guy from Saudi doing the event, a white guy is running the event, 2 white dudes in the main event on Mexican Day weekend, man. Like, come on, man.
And then you competing against Canelo Alvarez, who's Mexican and also in Vegas.
The biggest Mexican boxer right now is competing across the street, man. Where do you think everybody's going?
Who are you choosing?
Yeah, I'd argue highest profile Mexican fighter of all time. I think that when you look at the pay-per-view buys, and Canelo outdoes every single Mexican fighter in the history of boxing.
Yeah. But I think like Chavez is probably more like celebrated. He's like MJ, right? Chavez is MJ out there, and Canelo's probably like LeBron.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, man. Good comparison. Chavez will always be God in Mexico, bro. They'll love him forever.
Even though he's dead, Sanchez is still a man.
Yo, Chavez, man.
Damn, man, yo, Salvador Sanchez. Listen, man, if he didn't die so young, imagine what he could have accomplished.
I know.
Oof.
I know.
Yo, it would have been him. He would have been Chavez for sure. He already had like impressive names before he died, man. He already had big
Exactly.
names on his resume.
Hey, you see his record? 46-1.
Yeah.
39 knockouts.
Viva Canelo, he said. Yep. Yep.
Hey, but,
Yo, they love the
it is what it is.
Nah, shout out to the Mexicans, man. They're
Definitely.
so influencing in boxing is crazy.
Most definitely. And their input in boxing, the impact of boxing is well known. Is there every time they have a fight? They're there. They pack the arena.
Yeah, they show up and show out for their
The
guys. Like,
yo, that's one thing about Mexicans, man. When they support a fighter, they show up. Like
Yo,
Mexicans don't just go to the fight; they go with the family, with the friends, with the team,
Yeah.
with the co-workers, everybody going.
yo,
Yeah. It's not Cruz.
yeah,
That guy-
he's like, yeah, man.
That guy got his ticket, and then all of a sudden he has fans coming out in groves to go to Vegas.
Yep, Manuel Marquez too. Yep,
Yeah.
stop Pacquiao. Like, jeez, they were loving. Well, they're loving him before that, man. Manuel Marquez had a great career as well. I think Floyd brought him up 2 weight divisions to beat him, but it is what it is.
Well, Manuel Marquez, man, he had a great career.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Yep.
but Floyd definitely did batter him.
Yo, he did, man. So we got Munguia this weekend. He's back against Eric Bazinyan from Canada. So we'll be rooting for a Canadian boy, eh, Cole? How
I
much
will
chance
be
are we giving
definitely.
him? How much chance are we giving him, though?
Hey,
Okay. You go.
Man, I don't know, man. I think like we're gonna see if Hami's gun shy since the Canelo fight. If he's gun shy, then I'm giving Eric a chance. If not, we're done, man.
what's Eric's record?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Eric's from he trains in Montreal with
What's his-
I think Mark
record?
Ramsey.
What's his record?
I think he's like 30-0 or something like that.
Yeah. He's like 32.
He hasn't lost,
How many?
but like
how many
he hasn't fought very good opposition like Hami Munguia has yet.
No.
This
On
is his biggest fight.
paper, this should be a wall. You should get him out of there in the first 6 rounds. I think the only reason that it might go past the round mark is if Eric Bazinyan stays away from him for the first few rounds. It takes a little while for Munguia to break him down because I haven't seen Bazinyan take on a puncher like Jaime Munguia, so who knows how well he can take the punishment. But no, this is a matter of how long it lasts for me. I don't think he has a chance. I hope he has a chance, but it's hard pressed. And that's the thing. You said hopefully Munguia is not gun shy. Here's, in my opinion, why I wouldn't expect him to be gun shy. That he fought Canelo less than 5 months ago. He is ready to get back in the ring. A guy who fights Canelo usually, is the fruits of the paycheck that you got against Canelo and the beating that you probably got against. And Munguia is like, no, you know what? No, I want to get back in the ring, and I want to try to get to a rematch against Canelo. And he's taking on a legit super middleweight contender. Now, despite whatever you think about Eric Bazinyan's resume, he's in the top 5 across all sanctioning bodies middleweight. So I think this is an example of Jaime Munguia proving that he not only is he not shy, but he wants to prove that if Canelo's going to pick another super middleweight challenge, he needs to be in that conversation again.
Man. So yeah, there's Eric there. He's 32-0. He's got the one draw where he's coming off a draw against Shaquille Finn.
Yeah. And let me tell you, Shaquille Finn is basically a Walmart version of Jaime Munguia.
Yeah, he does.
A guy that is going to come forward and try to make it a overwhelming fight for you. Yeah.
So listen, guys, I just want to say something about Jaime Munguia. And it's that, and this is my perception of him. If I think back about maybe 3-4 years, when I looked at Munguia, I was like super excited about him, about how he was looking. But I don't know if it's just me. It looks like these few years, I haven't seen the progression. It looks like he's the same guy that I saw 3 years ago.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
if
could
it's a
definitely
new,
buy
but I
that.
just haven't seen him like getting progressively better. It's looked like he stayed where he was at a few years back.
He's
I could
stagnant.
definitely buy that. Look at it. Look at his most recent fights. I could definitely see your point. Canelo was an outclass. John Ryder, who he should have stopped and he ended up stopping it, but regardless, that I feel like that's a nothing fight to grab anything from. Derevchenko was a war, and Christian Billy did better than Jaime Munguia did. And then you have guys that don't even belong in the ring with Jaime Munguia. I agree. It's hard to tell on
Yeah.
how much progression he's made because he's such a little resume at 168, and it's been so volatile. Like Sergey Derevchenko is one of the toughest tests that you can have at 168 in your first fight at the weight class. So I give him for going to a 12-round wall with Sergey Derevchenko. Then he follows it up with John Ryder, who had already spent 36 minutes getting battered around a ring by Canelo Alvarez, and then Canelo. So it's like I would agree with you that it's like who knows? Who knows what he's going to look like? I do expect him to look very good tomorrow night.
Yeah, and didn't he change trainers too? Like he's done with Eric Morales. I think he's working with Freddie Roach now. So I think
And
that's
he
why we're
should.
seeing.
And Fred will get him ready. How about
Yeah,
that?
I think Canelo was the first fight he worked with Freddie, and I think you need more than one fight, especially a fight of that magnitude, to get ready with a new coach. Like you need a couple fights. I mean, we saw that with Joshua and Derek James. The first fight, man, Joshua did
Coaches,
not look good.
Yeah.
we see these examples of fighters who get with a coach and immediately show progression, show new tools in the bag.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
when it's time to win titles and get all these accolades, if you think about it, coaches are kind of overlooked. Like people don't
Oh
really
yeah.
give them the credit for how important they are to making this success happen.
Oh
But
yeah.
Yeah.
let me add this: coaches who have been there,
Mm-hmm.
They get the credit.
not any everyday average coach. Coaches who have been in the big fights and fought the big fighters and all that. That's the only time you see it happens.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even this year, Robert Garcia's that guy for me. Jose Valenzuela, Rayo. He made the adjustments in the Isaac Cruz fight, and Bam Rodriguez. He's had him on a run. Virgil Ortiz. He just got a big win. So like Robert, like you said, he's the type of dude. He's been in big fights, man, against
Yeah.
Mayweather, against all those other guys who definitely have the experience and the tools, and he's definitely learned from those fights for sure.
I'd give it the trainer of the year to him for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
All right. I'm gonna take my brother Mr. Rest. I appreciate being on here, y'all.
yes, sir. You can. All right, James. Thanks for coming through, man. Appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Much love to all y'all. Okay.
Always a pleasure, James,
Y'all
man.
all stay
Much
focused.
love, James.
Stay healthy. Stay healthy and wealthy, baby.
Yes, sir. Have a good
You
night,
too.
brother.
Peace.
Peace. Yo, shout out to James Tony for coming through, man. Appreciate him on that. Did say he was gonna come through, but I never want to, pressure anybody, especially when he's working all day, man. He said he was in the gym from 6 a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. over there on the West Coast. So shout out to him. He's in the gym doing his thing.
So shout out to James Tony. He been
Yeah.
busy as crazy, and look, he spent the whole hour with us. So appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man. Now he's a good dude, and I know I think this weekend, Big 12, Ricardo Brown is going out to Vegas to work with him. It's one of my
nice.
dad's fighters. Yeah, man. I'm sure James is gonna definitely spread his experience, that wisdom into the big heavyweight over here that we got that's coming up the realm. And hopefully when he gets back, he'll be more improved and better.
Ryan,
So
this is
that should be
perfect.
good.
This is perfect. I want to have a conversation about Ricardo Brown with, given the connection. So first of all,
for sure,
I don't,
man. For sure.
not many people know Ricardo went to the Ukraine, maybe. No, I think it was Spain.
Spain. Yeah, Usyk's camp.
Spain to train with Usyk for basically the last 6 weeks of camp for Tyson Fury. Obviously, Ricardo Brown, 6'7", 200 pounds, definitely resembles a big heavyweight for Usyk to get some with. Obviously, Usyk goes on to win the undisputed heavyweight titles, and that's thanks to Ricardo Brown. But I want to know, how much have you heard about Ricardo's progression since that camp?
I heard he was in the ring the most with Usyk. Like Usyk wanted him in the ring the most. His team wanted him in the ring the most. So that tells me that he did probably the best of all the sparring partners.
Wow.
And at a guy who hasn't been boxing very long, I mean, this guy picked up boxing maybe when he was 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
kind of like a Wilder story almost. Like he picked it up late, made the Olympics his first year round. And yeah, now he's 10-0, I think, or 11-0, all
yeah.
knockout.
Freak of
You
nature.
just
Yeah.
spent 6 weeks with Usyk, the best heavyweight in the world, and they said you're the guy we're gonna spend the most time with. That's got to be a
That's
confidence
big.
booster that you belong, bro. So I hope he just continues to work, and I think Big 12 can make it happen because a lot of people don't know his son is he has disability, so he fights for his son. He's kind of like I'm saying,
Wow.
he's kind of like Wilder, his story,
Alright.
and he
Yeah.
fights for his son. So I hope
Yeah.
if he could bring that chip to the ring every day and every night, this guy can make a lot of money, do a lot of great things in the sport at a short time, and hopefully get in, get out, invest his money right, and tell his
That's
kids what he
awesome.
got to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to present this idea, and we brought up. It's a good topic considering the weekend that we're going to have in UK box. Very competitive UK card with Joshua obviously and Dubois at the top of the bill.
Mhm.
We talked about what Canada needs to do to kind of get into this fight, and taking a UK approach, I think, is one way to go about doing it. I know limit the opportunities internationally for some fighters because if you match up two Canadian contenders against each other, one gets eliminated from the picture. I get that, but that's the breaks. So here's my question for Ricardo Brown: what do you think about a matchup back Makhmudov?
I could say it's been talked about before.
Oh, thank God!
It's
We
been
Boxing
been on
World
the
just
table
put
before.
we just put out a feature on YouTube tonight. That's the best fights to make in Canadian boxing. There was a
I know I
3-fight card.
saw that, bro, and like I didn't want to say that, but I know that the fight has been it's been rumored before. Like I didn't
Yeah,
happen, obviously, but I'm sure it can happen. Like I'm sure that fight will materialize at someday. Makhmudov, didn't he just lose?
yeah.
So I mean, this probably be maybe if Ricardo gets a big win next. I'm sure that they're gonna go back to the table and talk about that fight. And obviously,
Yeah.
Tiger, I'm sure they'll offer Makhmudov as well.
I think it just makes so much sense. And just to finish it off, for anybody who was interested, fights on that card were Sarah Bailey, or formerly known as Sarah Hegahad, versus Kim Clavel. It would be for Sarah Hegahad. She was WBA regular light flyweight title. Kim obviously fought at that weight plenty of times in championship fights. I think that's the to make in female boxing in Canada for sure. And then the main card, tomorrow night's B-side of the main event, which is Eric Bazinyan, Christian Billy. It would be, I think, the best fight to make in Canadian boxing
That's
right
all
now.
Canadian
It
matchup.
eliminates exactly, and even if Munguia was to beat like we expect him to, I still think it's good. It eliminates one of the Canadian contenders from the weight picture and gives Canelo another reason to entertain Christian.
And Billy, yeah, man, I like
Yeah.
him, Billy. I do like his
Oh,
style. I like the way he
yeah.
fights. I think him and David Benavidez would just be a great fight. They just be action, like two dudes trying to kill each other in there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think it's coming back down. I truly don't. I know he didn't look great in his debut at weight, but I don't know if that man wants any business making one again unless attached to the bill is Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, I don't think Benavidez
Yeah.
will come back to 68 for anybody else but
Yeah.
Canelo, and it kind of makes sense because I mean he's in line for Bivol or Beterbiev, like he's right there. So it's like, why would you come back unless it's Canelo? Because you don't
Right.
even know if Canelo's gonna fight you. Like you've been there for so long. And yeah, the WBC, I don't like how they do that. They keep saying they're gonna order the fight, and they never ordered it. They never pressured Canelo at all. They basically made David move out the way. Like
Yeah,
they just
it's
said,
like
But,
"Yo, you're not gonna get the fight,
I
man."
gotta say, guys, with Benavidez being 27 years old and soon he'll be 28, he's a
Mhm.
pretty big guy. I honestly don't think that he could even make 168 anymore. I think that he moved up because he already just couldn't make it anymore.
Okay. I know, like, also they were saying that Turkey Al-Sheikh offered him Crawford at 64. And he just said
that's crazy.
that's when he said he couldn't make it. But I mean, if Crawford want to fight Canelo, I'm okay with him fighting 68 pounders because, like, why you just want to fight that one guy? Like, you should be able to fight the others in the division. So
So I want to
Yeah.
respond to that. I don't think that Crawford can fight at the 168 division. I believe that he can fight Canelo, and here's
Mm.
why.
Aha.
And I've mentioned this before. Listen to this. Canelo, and something that people don't consider for whatever reason. Canelo is a small dude, my people. He's a
Yeah,
small
yeah.
guy. He's a
He's
small 168 pounder. If you look at every single one of his fights, he's smaller than his opponents. So Crawford can move up and fight a small 168 pounder, which Canelo is. Why? Crawford has physical advantages over Canelo. He's slightly taller and he has longer reach. The exact tools that Bivol used to beat Canelo and make it look easy. So,
Yep.
and we have to consider the fact that the opponents who beat Canelo were not power punchers. Did not have a high knockout percentage, which was Floyd and Bivol. They beat him with boxing skills. So what I'm saying is, you have a Terrence Bud Crawford who's slightly taller and has more reach. That's why I believe that he can move up and challenge Canelo. Now, think about this. Crawford is closer to Canelo's size physically than Canelo is to Bivol's. Yo, Canelo's 5'7" and Bivol is 6'2".
Yeah.
The reach difference is insane. It's like Benavidez will be able to whoop him from across the ring.
I don't know, man, because like Crawford got that crazy reach too. Like his
But,
reach
the,
is
but but
probably
that's what I'm saying.
probably
That
the same
Crawford
as
has a chance against
Benavidez.
Canelo, but he can't fight regular 168 pounders because they're big. He could fight Canelo though.
Yeah,
I,
Crawford got a 74-inch, the same reach as Bivol.
yeah.
Like,
I
dude is
don't.
just
I right do agree with Jay only because we've seen now a 154 fight with. I assume next time out at 154 he'll be much better. But I will say this: I would need to see uh, a run through the 154-pound division. I would see a decent win at 160, a decent win at 168 before I'm actually going to sit here and say that he would beat Canelo Alvarez at 168 because Dimitri Bivol and Floyd Mayweather, yes, beat Canelo with boxing, which Crawford does have at 154, 147, 145. I don't know if that would translate to 168 because of this. He has to also have to keep Canelo at bay, which Bivol did have at 175 because he is the bigger man. Canelo Crawford, regardless of physical attributes, is still a guy who's fighting smaller than Canelo. So if he doesn't have the power to keep Canelo at bay, I still think he would have his way. I need proof to show me that Crawford would have the power to keep Canelo at bay.
You gotta
yeah. I
remember.
guess
You gotta remember that Lara
mm,
gave Canelo serious problems. Till
yeah,
this
with his
day, you
movements.
probably know
Yeah,
people who say Lara beat Canelo. Till this day, right?
yeah,
And
lots of
he's
people.
not a power puncher. Lara did that with his reach and his footwork. Right there.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
Crawford
at his
has the
weight,
reach and has the footwork and the ring IQ, I believe, to do it.
yeah, no doubt. And you know what? I'm just trying to make our version of Roberto Duran. That's what I'm trying to do to Crawford. You know, Roberto
yeah.
Duran moved up 2 weights and he beat Sugar Ray Leonard. I don't think he had any
Yeah.
business doing that either. And
Unfortunately, I think we're too late.
he went 12 with Hagler. That was crazy. Or 15, sorry, with Hagler. Like
Yeah.
went 15 with Hagler. Now he got blitzed by Hearns, but Hearns has got that crazy right hand. But I just think that Crawford could be that dude because I don't think we'll ever see anybody else like Roberto Duran, to be honest.
Yeah,
And
I
I think
agree.
Crawford's kind of tailor made. Like he's mean like Roberto too. Like, you know, in those press conferences, if he doesn't like you, man, he's not playing around with you. Crawford tried to smack Benavidez Jr. Like you saw
No,
him
he
pull
tried to
up on
punch him.
Tio at
He
the
tried to punch
Canelo
him. He had
fight,
a fist.
smack Tio.
Yeah.
Like he's just
Yeah.
a mean
Crawford's
dude.
that dude for real.
Yeah, he's got that
Yeah.
mean gene in him. Like, and I just think
Crawford,
he could be our Duran, but
yeah,
I
he's
get
been
it
my
too.
favorite
He's
fighter.
small.
He's been my favorite fighter ever since I started boxing. The problem is I think we're too late. Like, people forget Crawford's 36 years old, turning
Hey,
37.
isn't this when Floyd beat Canelo?
And that's what I wanted to say when you mentioned that you want to see him have a run at 54, then at 60 before, he doesn't have that many fights left in
I
his
know.
career. Now,
That's my
this is an
problem.
option. Watch this. Let me give you an idea of something that he can do.
Yeah.
Think about this. Let's say he fights Fundora at the end of the year. Fundora decides that he's gonna defend versus Bud. He fights him and wins. Right there, he's gonna have 3 of the titles at 154. So he would be 1 away from becoming undisputed, right?
Yeah.
So that means that in 3 fights, he can fight Fundora, whoever has the other title. Now he's undisputed at 54, and then Canelo to cap it off.
Yeah, I think he should go that route.
That's the way
3-time
to end the career
undisputed.
right there.
That's history.
I think if Canelo's willing to give it to you, take it. I completely agree. If I'm Crawford, you're taking the fight as soon as it's offered to you. I'm just saying I don't know how much of a chance I give him. That's the unfortunate part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
no doubt, man.
I see him winning it, but I expect and understand that Canelo is going to be the favorite. So that's why I respect your opinion. Canelo is the favorite, so I respect that.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's been at that way longer, and he's the bigger guy, but he's also a great fighter. Canelo is also a great fighter, and you know what they say: it's hard for a small, great fighter to be even a good big fighter.
I think Canelo has one weakness, one kink in his armor that Crawford is going to exploit.
Yeah,
his footwork. His footwork.
Yeah, he's very stationary,
and that's of course his physical disadvantages, which he has shorter reach. Right, he should be shorter.
I think his knee problem is
been the
definitely
guys with the footwork. Like even the guys that he's beaten, that's giving him the most problems has been the guys with that footwork.
Yeah,
and I believe Crawford is gonna, the best fighters in the world, they adapt. They look for the ways to win. Crawford, I believe Crawford is not just gonna stand there, rock 'em, sock 'em robots and get knocked out. He's gonna go there with a great game plan, and I believe he's gonna execute to precision.
Yeah. Ryan, I hate to say this, but my phone is going to die here.
Oh no, that's all good, man. You gotta go. You gotta go, brother.
Yeah, I really appreciate having me. I'd love to come on again whenever you want to have me. Jay, it was a pleasure to meet you. Pleasure talking boxing with you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
To you, brother.
Thanks for coming through, brother.
All right, Ryan. I'm gonna drop off too, my brother.
Man.
You already know what it is. First off, man, I want to give a shout out to James Toney for joining us on the show. Spent the whole hour with us. Yo, boxing talk up north. Get with it, my peoples. Appreciate you, Ryan.
Yes, man. Thanks for having me.
Right,
appreciate you, Jay.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So we got the big fight this weekend for the ladies. Melinda Watpool and Natasha Spence rematch. United Promotions. This is their kickoff, to the end of the year, September 20th, tomorrow night at the Pickering Casino. Go get your tickets if you can go get them, man. It's gonna be a hell of a night. Melinda Watpool is the #1 middleweight in the world, and Natasha Spence is coming off that great fight against Shadeja Green. So it should be a good fight. I'm sure it's gonna be fireworks. We're rooting for Melinda over here. We want to see her accomplish all her goals, man. She's been trying to get to the top of the game for a long time, very long time, ever since I met Melinda. So shout out to her. That's a big event. And then October 19th, man, we just talked about Ricardo Brown. He's back in action. And little bro's back in action. Joshua Frazier, who is 10-0 with 7 KOs. Super welterweight southpaw who is standing 6'3", man. And Big 12 is Big 12. Big 12 is probably like 6'7", probably a solid 260, 280 maybe even, man. 12 is huge, man. And like we said, he was working with Usyk in his last camp for Fury. I'm sure 12 can't ready. He can't get, he's been out the ring for a while, so I'm sure him getting back in the ring is good for him. Get some ring rust off. Same with Josh. I know both of them will be in Vegas next week. So if you know anybody in Vegas, get some sparring for those guys. Let me know. Reach out to me. They'll be down there. Josh is super welterweight, 154, and Big 12 is a heavyweight. So yeah, man, these guys will be out in Vegas working with James Toney. Like I said, shout out to Tony. He's a great guy, man. Definitely one of the legends in our sport. Should never be forgotten, man. And those guys definitely gonna have a great camp. I hope October 19th they come out and show up and have a great night of boxing, man, at the Grand Casino in Toronto. The new casino there, part of Woodbine now. It's I've never been there. I've heard great things about it. I heard it's got tables in the slots now. Just crazy how Toronto's growing up. But yeah, if you're in the city tomorrow night, Friday night, you got nothing to do, want to make your wife, take her out for the night, go to the Pickering Casino and watch the United Promotions card. They got Sukhdeep Singh in the main event, and they got Melinda Wapool versus Natasha Spence for the WBA international title. Yo, I'm out, man. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Smash that like button. Peace.